Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, welcome everybody to the ultimate Cleveland sports show here on WKYC Channel 3 and the WKYC app. I'm Adam the Bull, and Travis Bazzana was the first overall pick in the draft a couple of years ago by the Cleveland Guardians. Well, he's playing at AAA level now, and right now he's playing for Team Australia in the World Baseball Classic, and he's playing great. Could he play well enough to actually make the Major League roster this year? We will discuss. Jason.
It's NFL free agency shopping season. ESPN chose receiver Rashid Shaheed as the perfect fit for the Browns. Is that true, and what would it cost? We're going to talk about it. G.
Well, we got to get to the project stockpile. You know I want every free agent, even if they ain't no good. But we'll talk about how realistic it is for the Browns to bring in and just how many free agents they will sign. Anthony.
Yeah, guys, and DJ Moore got traded yesterday for a second-round pick to the Buffalo Bills. So how do we think that's going to affect the free agent and trade market for wide receivers when it comes to the Browns going after a wide receiver this offseason? We'll get to that later.
All right, guys. If you're watching on Channel 3 WKYC right now or the WKYC app and you happen to have never seen this show before, we are on every weekday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., most of the time we're on YouTube, but from 12:30 to 1 on most Fridays when there's no Olympics going on, we are live here on Channel 3. So if you're new to us, make sure you become a subscriber. Make sure you become a regular viewer. We appreciate you joining us. All right, guys, there you go. There's the graphic of it. All right, I'm going to lay the line at 3.5, guys. Will the Browns sign over or under 3.5 legitimate free agents? And what I mean by that, let's say make it at least $3 million a year.
Okay, well, Devin Bush is a free agent, but he was here last year. Does he count?
Yes, it's how many starters are they going to sign?
How many starters, right.
Well, Devin Bush.
So we will include Devin Bush.
You'll count Devin Bush.
I'll include Devin Bush.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. The money doesn't matter. Will they sign over or under 3.5 guys that will either be a starter for sure or have a good chance to be a starter? Yes or no? Or over under?
3.5. That's tough, man, Jason. And I want them. I wanted to be 5, 6, 10 of them, but I just don't know if they're doing. They did restructure Deshaun Watson's deal. They already made a trade.
That counts. Trade/free agency.
Okay, now if it's trade/free agency,
well, now that changes
that
things.
doesn't it?
Yeah, that changes the question. Because I was going to take the under, now I'll take the over.
All right, then let's just go just free agency. Go ahead.
Just making this up.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to have to go under because I think they'll get Devin Bush. I think that they'll go out and get a guy on the offensive side of the football in terms of receiver, and they may get another offensive lineman. So that puts them at 3.5. I don't make it. If you had added the tackle, Titus Howard, you may have that, but I don't think that they have enough cap space to do that much. And I think trades, Andrew Berry, that's one thing that he actually is good at. They may use that as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. Yeah. I think it's going to be close. That's a really good number to put it at. Yeah. They've already made a trade for one tackle. I think Whippler's probably back as the center, I think, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, but you need 2 new guards. You need a tackle still. You have
a wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's gonna be 3.
I'll say 3 too.
I'm going definitely over on this. There's no doubt about it. As you said, you got to fill. There's at least 4 spots on the offense, potentially 5, because you don't. It's a possibility to go free agency for quarterback. That's still a possibility. Yeah. So there's as many as 6 starting spots that it could be on the offense that are kind of up in the air, and then Devin Bush. And then, is there one other spot in this?
Probably a defensive lineman of some sort.
Yeah, it could be. I think
maybe a tight end.
They're going to sign. Yeah, maybe a tight end. Although I think Harold Fenton will probably be a starter. I think they're going to sign a wide receiver. I think they're going to sign 2 offensive linemen and then Devin Bush at least. That puts me at 4. That puts me over. So, listen, if we include trades, obviously it could be 5 or 6.
The Browns had among the most undrafted rookies in the league last year. And I tend to think they're going to go that route again. So now, are they starters? You hope not. But I just think they're going to lean into the young guys, which is why. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is going to be 4, 5, 6. But I think this is going to be a really, really young roster across the board.
You know, Hickman's the only guy that's become a starter out of that group.
Yeah. Aiden Huntington played a little bit.
They had more than 3 last year.
I have faith in Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, I think Bond. Yeah, I think Bond is going to play a role.
Yeah, but he's not going to be a starter.
Yeah, he's a.
He better not be, because if he's a starter, that means they didn't do much to address wide receiver.
He's a fourth type.
Right,
receiver.
A fourth guy.
Yeah, fourth guy. Yeah.
Right, that's how I'm looking at it. I think they need 2, and to me, the third receiver is basically a starter, just like the nickel corner is basically a starter.
Yeah.
So to me, it's almost like there's 12 starters on each side, and so I look at the Browns and I say, you got to add at least 3 at minimum. You got to add 3 offensive linemen, 2 wide receivers, a linebacker, hopefully it'll be Devin Bush, and at least 1 guy in the secondary that are going to be starters. Now, some of that will be through the draft, obviously.
They have 2 first-round picks. You'd think their second-round pick is a starter. That's
probably
3.
Maybe a third-round pick's a starter, possibly, hopefully.
I'm keeping my eye on a guy like Isaiah Likely. You had a situation where you had 2 tight ends with David Njoku. They moved on from him. Likely is another guy. Now, Monken likes to use 2 tight end sets. He's a guy that, familiar with in Baltimore. Somebody, what I want Harold Fannin doing, I want him to be able to run and catch routes. I don't know if I necessarily want him to be blocking every single play and doing things like that. Give me a couple of them.
So wouldn't they be better off spending minimal money on a good blocking tight end that could catch a pass or 2 here and there?
That might be
rather than Isaiah Likely.
That might be, and I don't know how much of it he's going to actually want and what his number is.
Right.
But
the type of tight end I'm thinking of, you're paying veteran minimum, or just above it.
Just somebody.
I think that's better use of those dollars.
Somebody to accent, do some of the dirty work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, but maybe they bring in like
you could find those guys in the 6th round.
Right, sure.
It was a 6th round.
And maybe
Absolutely.
Maybe they do identify somebody in the draft where you can get that they like high and play them, 5th, 6th round pick and play.
All right, guys. So ESPN wrote an article recently. It said perfect free agent fit for all 32 teams that had a free agency. And the player they had for the Browns is a guy who won a Super Bowl this past year, Rashid Shaheed, longtime New Orleans Saint, but this past season he was with Seattle. He had 59 catches, 687 yards, and 2 touchdowns as their slot guy, as their third receiver in Seattle.
I mean, those numbers would make him the number 1 here.
Oh, yeah.
It would.
Jerry Judy's like, dang, man.
Yeah. The projection is a 2-year, $30 million contract. Now, keep in mind, I think it's very important for all of us and all the fans to realize that the cap has shot way up the last few years.
Yeah.
I think this year is the 2nd biggest jump in the history of the cap. So all the free agent dollars are going to be bigger. So like normally in the past, Rashid Shaheed would have been an $8 to $10 million guy. Now he's a $15 million guy because the top guys are getting not 25, they're getting 35, they're getting 40. Or maybe even more than that at this point.
Yeah.
So what do we think? Rashid Shaheed, 2 for 30. Do we like that?
Well, I already told you this before on the YouTube show.
G will never say no.
If you are looking for a really breakdown and fiscal responsibility when it comes to free agent, as the captain, as the president, and as the leader of the Kool-Aid Mafia and Project Stockpile, I need everybody to cash him out. 2 for 30. Let's get it done. I need weapons galore. I need everything. I need a couple receivers. You want to get another running back? You want a tight end? Whatever. Let's get a couple. I'm all for it. The Browns cannot have. Andrew Berry talked about this. He said, you go back to when we had the situation with Baker Mayfield. They had an offensive staff and they put a lot of weapons around Baker Mayfield, and the defense was kind of lacking. We knew that. Now it's an opposite of that. I think we know that our defense is loaded. We need to get some guys and weapons. So this guy, speed, can get deep. As a dude that has electric speed, I'm all for it.
The cap means nothing to Garrett Steinbrenner.
At all. Garrett Steinbrenner, boy, Yankees pinstripes, boy.
To be honest, it hasn't meant much to the Browns either.
Let's get it done.
They haven't paid much attention to it.
I mean, Shaheed's also a return guy. He can help them in the return game.
Yeah.
They haven't really been active in free agency with receivers. It's mostly been drafts and trade. Maybe they need to try their hand in free agency because the trades haven't really gone so well. Aside from Amari. Amari was a good trade. Other than that, they haven't had a whole lot of success. I don't think it's a terrible deal. He wouldn't be at the top of my list. He wouldn't be number one on the list. But again, it's a two-way street, and you got to find someone who wants to come here.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to have a hard time finding receivers who want to come play with this quarterback room.
You know, let's make, because everybody always thinks being negative about Shedeur Sanders. Let me make the perfect offseason for Shedeur Sanders. Okay? The Browns signed Rashid Shaheed to a 2-year, $30 million deal. Mm-hmm. They draft a left tackle with the 6th pick. They trade the second first-round pick for my guy Brian Thomas.
Okay. I can't wait for the draft to be over just so I can stop hearing about Caleb.
So now
and
your
Brian
receiving
Thomas Jr.
core is Brian Thomas Jr. as your 1, Jerry Jeudy is my 2, Rashid Shaheed is my 3, and Isaiah Bond is my 4. Farewell, Cedric Tillman. Okay.
What about
Now,
Jamari Thrash?
Farewell, Jamari Thrash.
Bye.
Okay, and I've improved my return game as well.
Yeah.
Now in the backfield, okay, I don't get the crazy elite running back, but I still have maybe a borderline elite, and maybe even an elite himself in Quinshon Judkins. I got what's his name, Dylan Sampson is my number 2 running back. All right, I bring in a veteran to get in the mix with there to carry some of the load here. Then I got Fannin at tight end. I bring in a blocking tight end to be the number 2 guy who can, catch 25 passes, score a touchdown or 2 during the year. Right?
Bring a fullback in.
Right. Then in the 2nd round, I draft a guard. Then in the 3rd round, I draft a guard. I'm Shedeur Sanders. I'm a happy camper.
What you mean? If you Shedeur Sanders, I need 3,500. I need 35.
Here we go.
I need 3,500 if you give me that. What are you talking about, bro? So, you got run game, pass game.
Yeah.
You got an offensive line. You got speed.
That'd be exciting.
Adam the Bull, general manager. Matter of fact, can we get you to throw the wrist up? You don't have a watch on, but what you just did right there. Oh my goodness, I got to buy him a watch.
I got to clean my contacts. Did I just see that correctly?
Yeah. Okay, let me tell you what's coming up next. When we come back, all right, we're talking baseball. We're switching it up. Travis Bazzana playing for Team Australia right now. He is the number 1 prospect in the Guardian system. Other first-round picks, guys drafted around them, are already in the big leagues. See if Bazzana joins them this year on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC Channel 3 and the WKYC app. It's almost that time of the year, guys. Baseball season right around the corner. Spring training games are going on. This year's World Baseball Classic is underway. Shohei Ohtani nearly had a cycle by the 2nd inning early this morning as Japan beat Team Chinese Taipei. In fact, they mercy ruled them, which I didn't even know was a thing.
I didn't know that was a thing.
At the World Baseball Classic.
I saw his home run this morning.
Yeah, he had a grand slam. Meanwhile, Team Australia, who's in the same bracket as Team Japan and team trying to fight their way into the top 2 of that bracket, is led by Travis Bazzana. Travis Bazzana, former first overall pick by the Cleveland Guardians. Was it 3 years ago, I believe? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2024 draft. And he's been good so far in the Guardian system, but not amazing. We've already had guys. Nick Kurtz already won a Rookie of the Year drafted after him. Other guys have had success. Hunter Green, although he's dealing with an injury right now.
Connor Griffin was in that draft.
Connor Griffin was 9th in that draft. He's the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. Now, Travis Bazzana is still considered a top 25 prospect in all of baseball and the number 1 prospect neck and neck with Chase DeLauder for the Guardians. Do we think there's anything he could do, Jason, with Team Australia or in spring training for him to start the season with the team?
No.
And that's a major flaw in Major League Baseball.
No, he's not starting with
that's a shame.
And a lot of that has to do, and who knows, maybe they think he's truly not ready.
Yeah.
He missed a ton of time last year to injuries.
Right.
He needs at bats. WBC is a great experience for him, but it's all about contract control, contract manipulation, and all that stuff. So I would say I don't think you're going to see him before June, more than likely. And he does need at bats. Like in this instance, because of all the time that he missed last year, I don't think that it's strictly contract, although I think that's a big part of it. If he's tearing the cover off, if they're struggling at second base with Schneemann and Arias and whatever else they roll out there, and he's hitting 320, 330 in May, maybe you see it sooner, but I don't think they're definitely not going to see him before May, and probably June.
Man, I'm gonna go on a limb and say, if Jason is saying that, and I'm greedy, I'm a project stockpile guy.
Yeah.
He ain't even gonna be up here till August, if that. He might not even be in the, because with the Guardians, you almost gotta over mention these guys. What did it take for you just to see DeLauder?
Yeah.
I mean, we had to cry.
I'm not even 100% sure DeLauder's going to be on the roster to start the season.
I'm
when he
about
obviously should
98.
Be. All right, I don't feel that confident, but
I at least got to see that. I mean, Manzardo ain't even playing every single day.
He will this year.
Well, they done slow walked everybody. I mean, when you talk about walking before you run, these dudes has the same level of when your mom lets you go around in your car when you got your temporaries, right? Your temp license. You get to go around the block. That's it. No highway, no nighttime driving. That's what the Guardians got on these dudes.
It's up to him. He's got to force their hand. He's been okay. He hasn't been terrible, but he has not set the world on fire.
Travis Bazzana has not earned his way to the big leagues yet. That's fair.
Yeah.
If he had a monster spring training, would I have him on the team? I would. They probably won't. You're right. I can't imagine there's a scenario. I don't know. I don't even think how good he plays matters, but it should. The two biggest problems with baseball are the lack of competitive balance, even though the players are trying to con people into believing that doesn't exist. It's silly. They sound foolish. I wonder if they actually realize how foolish they sound. But there's a lot of foolish people out there, so who knows? The second biggest problem is, unlike the other sports, you're encouraged not to have young stars in the big leagues.
Right.
It's a huge flaw, and in this collective bargaining agreement at the end of the year, that's something that has to be fixed. They have to find a solution to make it to make teams want to bring guys up to the majors, not try to force them back. That being said, Travis Bazzana still has a ton of potential. Like Chase DeLauder, he's had some injury issues. He's got to stay healthy, and he's got to improve. He hasn't been lights out in the minors. He hasn't been Connor Griffin.
Right.
He hasn't been Nick Kurtz. And right now, it looks like the Guardians made the wrong pick with the first overall pick. However, we got a long way to go.
If there's someone who is taken below him who has a better career, okay. To me, that's not how you judge it. You judge it on how many All-Star games did he go to? Was he a top? You can tell a good player when you see it. You know what I mean? So if Connor Griffin turns out to be the best player of this draft and Bazzana is the fifth best player.
Or Nick Kurtz. I mean, Nick Kurtz has proven it at least 1 year.
For 1 year. Now we'll see how much pitching adjusts to him. But you see what I'm saying? Like, if you're not the best player, okay, just don't bust.
Right.
Get someone who's going to help you win the high level.
If he's the fifth best player and he's a very good player,
you take it.
It's not the end of the world.
If he doesn't show anything this year, does not really get into majors till late, doesn't do anything crazy in the minors, when are you going to start becoming alone?
That's when you start having these conversations.
If he doesn't play in the majors this year, that's a huge problem.
Major problem.
Yeah.
Unless he's hurt again, unless there's more injuries.
But that's still a problem.
Then, yes,
that's still an issue.
He needs to be playing second base and in this lineup. By the All-Star break. To me, at the absolute latest.
I assumed when they started putting Quan in center field that DeLauder was a sure thing. I'm not as convinced because of the way they behave. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I thought Stephen Vogt made some interesting comments this morning. We don't have time to really dive into it.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, he had some comments about DeLauder and about I reading between the lines. I was wondering if he's saying that DeLauder needs to toughen up a little bit. He probably wasn't saying that, but I got a little sense of that. Like, he's got to be able to play through some things.
Yeah.
But
honestly, that's why I think DeLauder starts the year up. You never know how much time you have with him. If he's healthy, you got to get what you can.
He's a crazy talented player and should be at least an all-star caliber player in the majors, if not better than that. If he can stay healthy, it's a big if. We'll see. But Travis Bazzana, we're all in agreement, is not going to be on the team no matter how well he plays in spring training or the WBC. If he's up by June, I can live with it.
Yeah.
But he's got to be up this year.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. All right. When we come back in the final segment of the show, we're going back to football. I mention Brian Thomas Jr. all the time. Marvin Harrison could be up for grabs. Marvin Harrison Jr. could be up for grabs as well. Will the Browns get aggressive in the trade market when it comes to wide receiver? We'll talk about it next on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Welcome back. It's the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show here on WKYC Channel 3 and the WKYC app. Guys, yesterday in the NFL, there was an unofficial deal because trades cannot become official in the NFL until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. But yesterday, unofficially, the Chicago Bears traded veteran wide receiver DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills for a second-round pick. Now, the Bills' second-round pick is a late pick, but still, I think a lot of people looked at DJ Moore, veteran, coming off not a particularly good season. Mm-hmm. A lot of people looking at this trade as if the Bills gave up more than you would expect for, not a superstar wide receiver, a solid wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Does this, you think, change the price for guys like Marvin Harrison and Brian Thomas Jr.?
Man, I hope to say no, but I think it does a little bit. Like, you talked about the money going up, like the salary cap going up, but for this, DJ Moore didn't have a good year like that, man. Obviously they drafted Roman Duze. Obviously, they got Luther Burton, and they got some guys that they invested in and want to move in that direction. But I mean, that production for a second-round pick is crazy work. I don't. Now, if you look at Marvin Harrison, he hasn't had a crazy year, and you also, Brian Thomas Jr. had a down year as well. But the thing is, these guys are much younger. These guys are first-round picks. These guys have money invested in them and assets invested. They want to recoup those. If you don't move a guy that high for a second-round pick. So, Jason, my thing is, unfortunately, it looks like that's the going price for a receiver now, huh?
Well, I mean, that's what they gave up for Elijah Moore. And that seemed,
but I think they got a third-round pick back in that Elijah.
Did they? I don't remember. Did they?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they did. Oh God, that was such a terrible trade,
boy.
So, and the Bears did get the Bills did get I think a fifth-round pick back.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference.
I don't think this will have any impact on the. First of all, I don't think those guys are moving. I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. is getting dealt. I don't think Marvin
certainly
Harrison
not.
Jr. is
I
getting
think
dealt.
Brian Thomas Jr. is very unlikely to get dealt.
Yeah.
Especially if they're planning on having Travis Hunter focus on defense.
Right.
But then again, why'd you give up so much for Travis Hunter if you're just going to have him, if you're not going to use his special thing?
Unless you got him in the building, got to look at him and decided.
Yes, you should have known that before you made that trade. But anyway.
So I think there's always a couple trades that you go, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But look at Deshaun. Everybody thought that was going to reset the market for quarterbacks, and it had no impact really on future deals for quarterbacks. It messed up the Ravens' timing a little bit with Lamar. But I kind of tend to view this the same way. I thought it was a little bit high. Thought we were talking about it yesterday. I thought it was a little bit high for the value, but I don't think it's going to reset anything because I don't think there's going to be a ton of these top. Maybe A.J. Moore goes.
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown goes maybe, but aside from him, I don't think a lot of these other names that we're talking about are going to get moved.
I mean, I don't think Brian. I do think Marvin Harrison could get traded if the Cardinals want to do a full tear down. I think that's possible. I think if you're the Cardinals, they're going to be like, well, he's young. We got to get a first-round pick. Now, the other team's going to be like, well, he hasn't done anything.
You're not going to get a first for him.
And A.J. Brown, on the other hand, is old and can be a prima donna,
for the record,
but he's excellent.
For the record, if I'm the Browns, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is actually available, you got to have that conversation. That's the one that
You're giving me a hard time about Brian Thomas Jr.
I like Marvin Harrison Jr. better. I don't think
Brian Thomas
available.
Jr.'s been better.
I don't think it. I think Marvin's ceiling is higher. He hasn't shown it in Arizona.
I don't know about that.
But again, I don't think
they both. I think they both have a high ceiling.
I think the chances of Harrison becoming available are more likely than. I would see no reason why Jacksonville would.
I would trade the 24th pick for either of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would too.
They're.
I mean,
I just don't think their teams are going to make them available.
Probably not.
That's the tough thing about it is, I definitely don't think A.J. Brown is.
He's not coming. No.
And even if you traded for A.J. Brown, would A.J. Brown be happy here? No. That's not. So a lot of these conversations, Bull. We may be talking about these guys, but it's like we said, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
All right, folks, I just want to remind you once again that if you're watching for the first time or the 1,000th time, make sure you watch us every weekday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on YouTube. And, of course, as we are right now, every Friday from 12:30 to 1 on WKYC, Channel 3, and the WKYC app. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace.